Alrighty, I've got everything taken care of, and now I can turn my mic on. This time I actually have a glass of water ready to go. So, I'm just gonna start out with this one. It's Aqua Stormfall's OC Anne in her Lyoko form. And yeah, let's get started on the line art. I really only plan to do 2 pieces per stream today, just because I was kind of I was feeling a little bit off when I was doing the planning for the stream, so I might finish them and move on to another request, specifically one of Jason and the Hulk from the latest chapter of her fanfiction, but I don't know, we'll just have to see where this goes. My throat still feels really weird. That's okay. It always feels weird. It's because I don't talk much outside of these streams, and then suddenly it's a lot of talking, and, well, I've already been on this rant. So, let's just get to drawing, shall we? I found out that both of the requests that I planned for this evening are of the same character. I mean, I kind of knew it, but I didn't realize it until this afternoon. But, anyway, that wasn't necessarily intentional, but it's okay. So, got her hair is pretty spiky. I still have the flesh cloud pulled up from last time. That's okay. It's a really good reference because you can click anywhere and you'll get a pretty realistic skin tone. But I already said that this afternoon. All you really have to do is Google image search flesh cloud, and it'll pop up. I highly recommend it because, like I said, you can color pick from anywhere on it, and it'll give you a skin tone. I mean, of course, actual skin tones have a wider range than just what's in the flesh cloud, but it's still a good jumping off point. So anyway, she's got these gloves that come up to here. Don't even know why I'm bothering with those, since I should just be focusing on her silhouette. Let's see. While I do have some water, I should probably try not to drink it all in the first 30 minutes. So, let's see. I pasted her drawing of Anne in the Lyoko form into here so that I could see it more easily and also have my pose reference up. The pose is from the Senshi stock, and I cannot talk for some reason tonight. It's just another one of those nights, you know. But the pose reference is from Senshi stock, which is probably why Anne looks a bit older than she usually does. Because the reference was of a fully grown person, and Anne is in her mid-teens, so she really shouldn't look fully grown yet. Oh well, it's just, I don't really put, it's okay, I just do, it was still fun practicing with that pose, I guess is what I mean to say. It's a pretty good pose. It's actually one of the ones from Inktober, so it was interesting to redraw it here and see how it changed from my Inktober piece, which I should have queued up to show you guys as a reference for how far I've come since then, or how far I haven't come since then. But I don't know. I still feel pretty bad about not finishing Inktober. That said, I am doing a Sir Kunamet's Musical May challenge, but I'm going to be doing it with a ton more prep than I did for Inktober. And hopefully, hopefully Musical May will turn out better. I have an entire playlist, which I've actually linked in the description here. You guys are welcome to use his playlist or my playlist or make your own. And you don't have to do all 31 days, you can do as few as 10. Which 10 is a pretty good number, but if I had any critiques for the general structure of this challenge, I would have picked, I don't know, maybe 4, something to do with the number of weeks in May instead of just 10, but that's my one and only gripe about the structure of the contest. It's not a contest, there is no prize, except the satisfaction of completing it. It is a challenge, not a contest. So, that is my one and only gripe about the structure of this thing. But it still looks like a pretty good challenge, and I'm still excited to see how things turn out. So as soon as I'm done with this line art, I'm going to check and see what's going on in the chat. I'm gonna minimize or make that invisible and see if everything... Hey, for once all my line art is solid on the first go. That's nice. I'm just gonna zoom out here and see what's going on in the chat. So, 1 second. Oh, come on. So, yeah. Let's see what y'all are up to. Cool. Let's see. Thank you guys. Yeah, Musical May seems like it should be pretty fun. So, let's see. Now I'm going to take this. Fun little trick. If you set a layer to multiply, all the white becomes invisible. But as long as your background is white, all the colors are still the same. So it's a very quick way to have your to overlay a reference on top of stuff. So I'm just going to select a color from here as my base. You know what? I might work from the hair color as the base, just to give it a different feel. Although, before I do that, I'm going to add that and then remove this little area from the selection. Now I'm going to use her hair color as the base, just to try and give the other tones a little bit more warmth. So you fill that in, bring this layer opacity up, and from there I can, let's see if there's a place I can move this where it's not gonna interfere too much. Actually, if I use my transform tool and make it smaller, that'll work. Alright. New layer, clip, skin tone. Alrighty. That was not a solid line. There we go. Take this darker color. You know what? I'm just going to take the gray first. And then I will work from there to fill in the other colors. Huh, and apparently it does register it a little bit. Okay. Still, it's a nice learning experience. Alright. And then her boots are blue over here. And now we can take this darker color and section off where we want it to stay. I did not mean to select flat black there. This'll work. Alright. Let's see where this takes us in terms of the color. Okay, that was not the area I wanted that to go in. That is the area I wanted that to go in. Then I need to section off this area of her pants. And fill in that finger. And then she has green eyes. They're not usually that green. Actually, I want to see if I can't give it a more digital look. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of this and then filter chromatic aberration. We want it to be fairly extreme. Okay, so chromatic aberration doesn't work on flat black. That is okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to merge that, duplicate, merge it down. I can delete this sketch layer. And then filter chromatic aberration. Okay, maybe I don't want it that extreme. Okay. And then filter mosaic. And I want these pixels to be quite large. So let's go with 32. And then if I move this under the actual piece, and then scoot it to the side, and then I take my background color let's see, actually what color did I use for her eyes? It wasn't pure green, but it was close to it. View, background color. There we go. And now if I take yellow and new layer, make a quick grid of it. Alright, so I'm going to duplicate that, and then on this layer I'm going to transform it so that it's quite a large plane there. And then I take the point where grids meet. Hold on, cancel. I want to make this grid quite a bit smaller. So let's scrunch it down. Okay. Duplicate it there. Or, no, not new layer. I want to duplicate it as it is. And then scoot it over here. And then I can duplicate this, move it back some more, then I'm going to erase, filter, mosaic again, and then fade it out a little, and maybe even make it a bit smaller. And then, there we go. And then maybe if I duplicate this one more time, bring it on top, match it here, and then change the layer mode. Just to make it look a little bit more glitchy and digital. Alrighty, what do you guys think? Yeah, I've heard of Mermaid. I've thought about it, but it lacks a little bit of variety to me. And I see what you mean about the 3D style pretty blurry, but I'm now 23 minutes in, so let's move on to the next one. This one is based on a scene from the Ladybug PV, the original 2D one. And in this one we have Anne hugging her Kwami Tatsu. And the screenshot is actually very cute, and if you haven't seen the PV, it's on my playlist. It is the only one on my playlist with any semblance of lyrics, because what I did with my playlist is I went for pieces that had a very strong emotion and atmosphere to them, but I didn't really want to use anything with lyrics, because the pitfall of using songs with lyrics as inspiration is that sometimes you just end up drawing the lyrics, which is fine. It's just not what I wanted to do. So, pretty much all of my songs or all of the pieces on my list are just instrumental. Except for that one, and I only let it slide because the lyrics are gibberish. It was literally just supposed to be English sounding gibberish, since the PV was never supposed to come out. They probably would have put actual lyrics in it if they had meant for that PV to come out. But they didn't. So we have this really lovely atmospheric song with a vocal line that should have lyrics but doesn't. So so that is why I included that in my Musical May playlist. even though the rest of my stuff at best has a Coraline. Not a Coraline like the movie, but CHORAL space LINE. And I am very excited to see what I come up with. I'm very excited to see who participates in this, too, just because it seems like a pretty decent challenge that should catch on. And I mean, if you wanted to, you could actually probably combine it with Mermaid. Just pick songs that remind you of mermaids, I guess, or draw mermaids that remind you of the songs. That could be interesting. Combining challenges is a pretty fun challenge in and of itself. I feel like this might be just a touch out of character for these two, since Tatsu tends to be the sassy, meddling type. But, you know, it's a really cute picture, so I'm going with it. Alrighty. There we go. And for this, I think I'm going to give it a pink background, even though Anne hates pink. Or maybe I should go with red. I don't know. Color symbolism really isn't my thing. I don't really pick colors to symbolize anything, but I do know that pink tends to symbolize lighter affections, while red tends to be romantic, but I don't know. It could also work if I went with gray, I guess. I guess for now I'll go with gray. Let's see. Kind of a pinkish gray, I guess, or a mauve. Mauve is a good color, I guess. Let's see. That line art is not closed. Let's see, where isn't it closed? Somewhere over here. The opening's probably like a pixel. Or not. What layer is that on? Alright. There we go. Alright. We'll invert that. And in this case, I think I will use red as my clipping mask. It makes almost no difference, but I don't know. Let's go over here and actually let me pull up a reference of something I drew of Anne. Here we go. This one has no shading. There we go. I'm sorry if I'm not really saying much. I'm not really sure what to say. Okay, let's just keep going here. My palette, I have a much lighter skin tone. That will suffice for the whites of her eyes. I don't know, I'm trying to be a little more, or a little less strict with which colors I use for what, and let it depend on context. So, that is going to be the inside of her mouth. And then I'll use a lighter pinkish gray for her tongue, which could maybe stand to have more pink and less gray. That works. And then, let's see. It's been a while since I drew Tatsu. I think it is actually in my finished folder. Should be all the way down here. Or not. Maybe it's in a different folder. I don't know. I can't find anything. Hold on, let me search. That is the exact file I'm working on. But it's not her horns that are gold, it's her wings. Or is it her horns too? I'm not 100% sure. Which probably just means I need to draw this character more often. Here I am pronouncing the T in often. How many English speakers actually do that? Or is it more common than I think? Because most of the time we just say often. Alright. There we go. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Okay. Oh, which art piece? Thank you. Thanks for clearing that up, that the edges of Tatsu's wings are gold. Which art piece am I most excited to draw? I'm assuming you mean for Musical May. There are a few. Let's see. I'm excited to do the Jazz Firebird. I probably haven't said this too much, but I really hate the original Firebird suite. I played it and I know everybody loves it for some reason, and I just don't see the appeal. It's really discordant, and I just don't like it. But the jazz version is the jazz version, though, I really like, because the discordant tones in it actually work in its favor in the jazz version, where they really don't in the normal version. So I do have a bit of a vision for the jazz piece, but I can't really say the same for the original, which is why I'm glad I stumbled upon the jazz piece. I was actually looking for a piece that I did in jazz band way back in high school, and it had a melodic line very similar to the Incredibles theme, but for the life of me, I can't find it anywhere. And it didn't have lyrics, so I can't look it up. And I don't even remember the composer's name or the organization name that he composed it for. All I know is that it was supposed to evoke the feeling of driving in a fancy car, which I could have sworn was a Firebird or a Thunderbird, and could not find it. Actually, let me change the proportions of that for the request so I can work on it. I want to work in 4:3 just to get a very TV-ish feeling. So in this one, I guess the Hulk has high-fived Jason, but the thing about the Hulk and high-fiving people, or no, he tried to give him a fist bump, and that did not go too well. So I've got to draw Jason over here. I don't think he actually crashed into a wall in the scene. My memory's kind of fuzzy. I have had 5 hours of sleep, and one of those hours was a nap I took right before this. So, bear with me here, please. Yeah, so Jason has been fist bumped by the Hulk. It's not a good thing, I guess. Maybe I should draw him, not delete him. Maybe I should draw him like having slid down the wall with like the crash point over here. I don't know. I'm doing some very rough blocking in here because I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with this. I thought we were good. That's not where the text is going, it's just where I'm putting it for now. Yeah, the beginning stages of drawing really anything are very messy. I like to work from very messy stuff because it's easier to clean up something that's messy and make it good than it is to draw something good right off the bat. Yeah, let's take that. I'm gonna see what's going on in chat. Yeah, definitely don't want the Hulk to fist bump you. That does not seem like fun. So I'm just gonna go to a new layer and just kind of flesh out the shapes here a little bit more. Try to draw him smiling, I guess. The Hulk is very blocky, so why is drawing him reminding me of that one thing from Mystery Science Theater where the hero is this really beefy guy, so the whole time they're making up ridiculous manly names for him, like Rip Steak Face, let's see, Buck Plank Chest, which are all really awesome names, and I would love to see characters with those names, but, let's see, Gristle McThornbody. I don't know, if you haven't seen that bit for Mystery Science Theater, I think it's called The Many Names of David Ryder. That pose is so not dynamic. Whatever, it doesn't have to be dynamic, maybe that's what'll add to the comedy. In any case, here's Jason kind of like, I thought we were good. So, there he is, kind of beat up looking, because, I mean, with friends like these, you might want to make some enemies. But he didn't mean it, I guess. But, yeah, the many names of David Ryder is a really funny bit, and, if you want to come up with a nickname for a character or something, it's a great formula to work with in terms of giving your character a good name. I think one of my favorite ones is like, what was it? Slam, squat, thrust. Just, I don't know, there's something about ridiculously manly names that's funny to me. Maybe they're not funny to everyone else, but just... Let's see, gotta add his hairline. I'm not very good at drawing the Hulk. Let's see, add his jacket. And yeah, I've still got 15 minutes to work on this piece. I might just completely ignore the text, but that could not have been a very pleasant collision with that wall. Not that any collision is usually pleasant, but you know what I mean. So let's zoom in here and try to work on the Hulk's face a little bit. Maybe I'll draw the Hulk again this week, since my theme is H for Hulk and my H for Hunter piece is not coming out very well. I was trying to draw like a Hunter, I don't know, maybe, I'm not quite sure what I was going for. Like, I couldn't decide whether I wanted her to look tribal or maybe far future post-apocalyptic, but I was trying to draw a Hunter character riding one of those Stego-Wolves things because I thought it would look cool, and no matter what I do with this sketch, it's just not looking cool. So I will have to take a look at it later. Maybe I should look at a reference for some back muscles. It would give me an opportunity to check the chat again. And let's see. Giant shoulder blades there. I don't know, muscles are weird, and I don't draw too many backs because then you have to draw the butt, and the butt is really hard for me for some reason. Like, I don't draw butts well. Which is part of why I don't take NSFW commissions, because I don't know, nothing I do really seems to make butts turn out well. Not that anybody needed to know that, but the point is that I need to do more studies of the back. These feet, they're like ancient Egyptian style. So I think I'm gonna move his foot over here and just angle it that way. Oh yeah, back to the Musical May challenge pieces. The other one I'm really excited to work on, or there are two others that I'm really excited to work on. One is the Gerudo Valley, and the other one is the short hair one, based on the piece from the Mulan soundtrack, where she cuts her hair and transforms herself into a soldier. Just because that piece is so, it's amazing. I tried to space out the ones I'm really excited for. But, so yeah, I'm excited for Firebird, PV, Short Hair, and Gerudo Valley. For Gerudo Valley, it was actually between the Taylor Davis arrangement and the 25th Anniversary Symphony arrangement. And in the end, I liked the variety that the Taylor Davis arrangement added. Because, don't get me wrong, the 25th Anniversary Orchestral Symphonic arrangement is absolutely stunning and you should listen to it, but I had a lot of other epic orchestral pieces in the lineup, and I didn't really have anything. Well, I had a few things for solo violin, but nothing that really combined the epic feeling with almost a dance kind of tempo. So that's why I picked the Taylor Davis arrangement over the orchestral version. They're all worth listening to, in my opinion. I probably could have stood to add Kingdom Hearts to it, but I couldn't really think of anything that didn't specifically bring up Kingdom Hearts or Disney imagery, and I wanted to come up with something a little less ingrained in its source material. Like I did use the, what's a piece that I didn't originally intend to put in there? The Star Trek IV soundtrack had this piece called The Ballad of the Whale, and, that one reminds me so much of the Traverse Town theme. I have a lot of smooth jazz in my stuff for some reason. What can I say? I like jazz. My favorite Transformer. Anyway. So, I think I might actually be able to move on to line art, but since this took a bit of doing, I'm going to save it and check the chat first. So, save as I thought we were good. Wizards from the Lost Kingdom. I think I saw that episode, but I'm not remembering it too well. Let's see. I'm just gonna start out by drawing a rectangle. Let's see. There we go. That's not what I meant to do. Actually, rectangle. Oh yeah, that's why it's not doing that. I have the opacity of my pen down. That would explain a few things. So, now, line. There we go. Alright, back to freehand. Actually, I'm just gonna add in this impact point. I'm pretty sure the physics in this is off, but whatever, since when is physics in entertainment ever correct? Unless it conveniently needs to be. But I don't think that happens too often. Alright, so now I can take that down and just draw. Let's go with 10 for my brush size, just because. Add the hand there. Close off this line art, for goodness sakes. Let's see. Oh yeah, that reminds me. One of my favorite villain lines ever written was actually in LT Gray, and the character is a villain ostensibly, but he doesn't really feel like one because he's the main character's grandfather. But there's one point where he throws his back out or something, and he says, "Oh my badness," and it was a good line. I don't know why I like it that much, but just, I don't know, maybe because it really felt in character for him. Because he's a villain in their society where heroes and villains are very clearly defined. And, I don't know, it's just an in-character thing, and it was a funny line, so I don't know why I remembered it just now, but it has been one of my favorite lines since middle school. And if I ever get the chance to use it in a thing, I am totally using it in a thing. It would have to be in character, though. Because it doesn't make sense for Hero McGoody-Two-Shoes to say it. And it also doesn't make sense for edgy, "the ends justify the means" villain to say it. You know, it really only works if the person is actively trying to be bad. So, speaking of characters actively trying to be bad, I have a few pieces from the Megamind soundtrack in my playlist, and I think my favorite title in all of them is Stars and Tights. I'm not sure if Hans Zimmer named the soundtrack pieces on his own, but if he did, I really do appreciate his sense of humor, because it really got to shine there. There's just... If you haven't seen Megamind, it's a really good movie, maybe a little bit even ahead of its time, because, you know, with it came out when superhero movies were kind of just starting to get popular again. But, I mean, now, of course it would be a popular movie. It would probably be received almost like a kiddie version of Deadpool, maybe? I don't know. But, just I don't know, I could fangirl about Megamind a whole lot, because it's a really good movie. Just, I don't know. I feel like it did not get all the attention it deserved, but it's actually really, it's really satisfying in the movie to see this character who is raised to believe that he is bad and that is what he is and he can never change because he is bad and everyone expects him to be bad and nothing he ever does can ever be good because he's bad. And then he turns around and finally becomes the hero in the end. And it's just a really good movie about, you know, sometimes you're dealt a really, really bad hand, but, you know, sometimes it's how you play the cards you're dealt and not the cards, and not necessarily the cards themselves. But it's just a really good movie. I have a feeling most of you have already seen it, so I don't know why I keep fangirling about it. But just let's see. It's, I don't know. I don't know what to talk about, guys. After I finish this, I'm gonna check the chat and see if there's anything else I can, really work from before I get to coloring this thing. Depending on how much time is left, I might not color it, though. Let's see. But first, alrighty, there we go. Now, let's see what's going on. Oh yeah, I don't have time to color this. I've only got like 3 minutes. At best, I can throw in the, not the gradients, the clipping mask. So, let me just throw in the clipping mask. I'm just going to use my usual gray for this. And I'm going to go all the way back down to layer 1. Come on, fill that in. Layer. Alright, there's my clipping mask. And, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you like my music choices. Well, I'm going to call this stream here, and thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you have a great rest of your night, and I will see you next week. Bye!